Hello and welcome to the very last episode of the season for New Game Plus. I'm Jason, your host as always, and it's another day in lockdown, another beautiful day in lockdown. So we are bringing you another episode of content from the Vault, as well as a bit of a discussion about what we've missed over the last few months. But we've got plenty of great global game jam content is what we're actually pulling out of the Vault for you on this specific episode. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, and it gives a look back to a time when we could sit closer than 1.5 meters to each other. Remember those days? I remember. Anyway, for now, something completely different.
Well, the movie actually didn't do anything except give me a little bit of cash a long time after the option. What did my career a huge boost was the hype and the news of it getting optioned in the first place, which was 5 years earlier. The film may never have been made. No one gave a crap. Am I allowed to swear in this? No one gave a fuck about the film being made because, well, I didn't. Because the news of it getting an option was really big news at the time and put my name on the map. When it was literally like my first or second book that I'd ever done in comics. So I became like sort of a household name after that and got some attention. So it really didn't matter to me if the film got made or not. The film was a different experience. It was good, but it didn't change anything hugely other than I already got my career well underway because of the news. So it was just a great experience to go to the set and to see how it was made and various things. And yeah, they did pay you out the money. Once a film gets made, if it gets made, that's when you get paid a fair bit more money because it actually hits pre-production and then production and stuff. So the technical side of it. But yeah.
Hey, Cringe and B here, hanging out at the South Melbourne Town Hall. We are here for the Community Play Party, which is a follow-up to the Global Game Jam. This happened in South Melbourne a few weeks ago as of recording. You didn't go to the Global Game Jam, did you?
No. Did you?
I was there. I'm going to cut to a story later on about how that went. But this event is pretty much a hands-on event, right?
Yes. We actually get to play what people have made throughout that 48 hours, you know, because people love being in a room with other people for 48 hours making one thing.
Super chill,
Yeah.
no stress at all.
Yeah.
It had sort of like a uni campus kind of vibe.
Did
like
it?
Walking into, well, I mean, people were also sleeping there because that's a game jam.
And healthy.
Yeah, super healthy. They were actually, it was pretty under control. But I'm yet to play a lot of the games there. You've played some.
I played some.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So let's head on in and check it out.
So we're here with Michelle, who made Kintsugi, right?
Yeah, so in this game jam for me is a little different because I'm volunteering as well. So I didn't really have a long time to work on it. So I decided on one very simple mechanic and just repeat and just make as many levels as I could. During the intro where they showed the team, they showed like different repair, and then there was that little clip where they showed Kintsugi. And I thought it was quite interesting because it's the Japanese art of repairing ceramics with gold. And it's not about covering your imperfection, it's about embracing it. And I thought that was a really good concept because you fall apart, but then you can put yourself back together again, and that makes you more beautiful, like your scars define you. So yeah.
It's a really cute game, and if you make more of it, I'd love to play more of it.
All right, thank you.
Olivia and James, you guys worked on Tower Tussle. This is a competitive game where, I mean, the theme was repair. You'd probably be in a better position to explain it than I am.
So it's local versus. One player is the wrecker and one player is the repairer. And you're just like pitted against each other. There's a 20-second clock, so it's really short and intense. And it's all physics-based, so as the wrecker, you're trying to whirl the wrecking ball around and just destroy the tower.
Yeah, I did all the programming, and Olivia did the modeling and graphic design and sourcing all of the sound effects and music. I've done a few game jams before, but it's my first time working with Olivia as a partner, which comes with some challenges. We had being in a relationship where we can have a serious argument and actually
We're
work through it.
a lot more confident about fighting for our ideas and just more honest opinions. So that's actually really good creatively to be able to openly argue. Whereas I feel like if I was with a stranger, I wouldn't push my ideas very much. So yeah, I think that was pretty good working together.
All right, so I'm here with Councillor Tim Baxter for City of Port Phillip. You helped do this?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're one of the principal sponsors of this event, and we're really excited to have helped fund this through the Love My Place grants that we do. And we're just wanting to have a deeper and stronger relationship with game developers and creators in our municipality.
So is there a reason you're so passionate about video games compared to, I mean, not that you're not passionate about other ones, but is there a reason that this is a little bit more direct?
For sure. Well, look, personally, I'm a gamer, and so I've got a passion there already. But when I got onto council, I knew that there were a lot of game developers around this area. And I said to the staff, can you just find out what's the economic impact, like how big are they? And they went away and they came back and they said, well, digital creative arts account for about 35% of economic activity in the city of Port Phillip. And I went, that's enormous. We need to plug into this, to these people. They're generating so much creative output. They're making money, they're employing people. Like, it's fantastic. We said, why don't we fund the jam and the community play party, where we can take a big, beautiful public place like our South Melbourne Town Hall and invite the community to come in and play your games.
So I've heard that Port Phillip is actually has a game development action plan. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're developing our game action plan. It's going to be out later this year. And it's basically going to be our roadmap to making Port Phillip the games capital of Victoria. And we're not just talking about digital video games, we're also talking about activating our spaces through play. It's really about making games and play and the way that we interact through each other in a playful manner a real focus for our council. So that means working with the games industry. It means getting jammers to come up with creative concepts for us. It means doing things out in our streets. There's going to be so many ways it intersects with different parts of our life, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's a local government first. No other council is doing this, and we're really proud to be leaders in this way.
Awesome, that's so exciting. Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you very much, and happy jamming.
So this is the community play party at the South Melbourne Town Hall, but this isn't the actual game jam. Melbourne Global Game Jam happened at JMC Academy in South Melbourne, and I went to check it out.
I'm Giselle Rosman. I've been running Melbourne Global Game Jam for 10 years now, and I'm also the Regional Director for Australia and New Zealand. A game jam is an event where small groups of people get together over a limited period of time to make a game generally based on a common theme. See, I've done that before. I'd started organising IGDA Melbourne, which is the International Game Developers Association. So that was in 2009, and by the end of 2010 we'd heard about this game jam thing, and it sounded like a bit of fun. I was working at La Trobe University at the time, and somehow I managed to convince them to let me host a jam there.
It was 70 then. You have 200 and something now?
Yeah, we're at about 230 this year. We maxed out the year before last. We had over 300, and I found a number that's too many. And that's it. We announce a theme. We have just announced it here in Melbourne, repair. And so now some teams have already formed. Some people are still trying to find their teams. And then they all sit down and brainstorm and think, what kind of game am I thinking I want to make based on the idea of repairing? We get a lot of students jamming, and it's a great spot for them. And there are people who've been studying for 2 and 3 years and they've never finished anything, like ever.
Yeah.
Finished a game. And so when you see those kids at the end of a jam and they've
Got it.
They've made a shiny new thing and it wasn't there before, and they've made it all from Go to Woe. And they light up and they're just so... That was amazing. And yeah, and then I end up in tears and then I come back again the next year, so that happens again.
I'm Ella.
And I'm Kerry. I'm working on the same game.
Our team name is Cautiously Hopeful. Not too hopeful, just like appropriately hopeful.
Cautiously.
Yes.
Yeah. Our game is called Hey.
Hey, we need to talk.
We need to talk.
We were just like, what's the most anxiety-inducing message you can get from someone? And we're like, that's the name of the game.
That's the sentence.
Yep. That's it. We had to immediately instill that in straight away.
Yeah.
This year's theme is repair. So we basically focused on trying to repair a dysfunctional relationship. Whether that works out, whether that doesn't work out, or I guess you'll have to find out.
I mean, spoiler alert, there are no happy endings here.
Basically wanted to paint a picture where you were kind of seeing this, learning about this relationship as you were trying to repair it at the same time.
Right.
And you're starting to understand where the communication breakdowns were coming from as you were trudging
play
through the
through,
story,
yeah.
and like...
You were, Ella, in charge of the sort of narrative design, and Kerry, you said production, but I was...
Yeah, I'm the jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah.
Make sure that we all do
design.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't want to jump in straight away because I was like, I don't know what type of applicable skills I have to a game jam, but
You've had
I've been busy.
Yeah.
I have not had a moment of rest, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Because that is what my biggest fear was, having nothing to do, and that is the complete opposite of what happened.
You have so much to do.
Too much.
A big thing about getting into like full-time work in the game dev community is your ability to work in a team and to effectively communicate your needs. A game jam is just a hyper-concentrated version of that. It's a pressure cooker.
A lot of people, I think, coming into game dev, they're just like, oh, I just need to be the best at art or the best at programming. But what a lot of them aren't told necessarily at uni, and I wish this was communicated more, and I think that a lot of universities are putting more work into this, is that being able to work in a team is much more valuable than being just a little bit better at the skill that you're specializing in.
Right.
Because it is such a collaborative environment and you have to have good people skills and problem solving skills. It is so vital when you work in these huge teams with so many moving parts.
Absolutely, and you should kind of know a little bit about what each role does.
Yes, and you definitely learn that here.
Oh yeah.
My name's Jacob and I'm here at Global Game Jam 2020. I'm in the team Super Chill.
I'm Sarah. I'm also working at Super Chill. I'm the artist primarily for this, so I'm making all our 3D assets.
And we're working on a game called Now This Is Art. You play as a child who has been tasked with restoring famous classical artworks from Van Gogh and Dali, etc. But the only tools you have at your disposal are child's arts and craft tools such as glitter glue.
Yeah, and it plays kind of like MS Paint, so it's like kid pics, like that's what the controls are like. The reason our team name is Super Chill is because that's how I approach the game jam, is to just be really chill and relax about it. So it's like, we're not really stressed out, we're taking it easy, and as long as like, even what we've got right now, most of us are like, yeah, I'm happy this is like a game and it's a thing, and whatever we can do from there is gonna be good too, so yeah.
When we were ideating our concepts, we made sure that those concepts were really, really small. We just started out working out who the protagonist was and what the goal was, and then the main thing that they do. And that was it, and that is what our entire game is. There's no other kind of conflicts or...
You're just having fun, basically. Make it all up.
Yeah, so
Kid pics, man.
that influenced the level of production. We knew that there was just those kind of three things to do. This is our third.
Yeah, this is our third Global Game Jam. We did the first one together, second one separately, and then we did another game jam together that we didn't finish.
We didn't finish Ludum Dare.
I did one of the Gogik Academy game jams like over a year ago. For me, it's definitely about like making sure my skills are still being polished, making I'm still working on things, making sure I'm adding to my portfolio where I can, and meeting other game developers and like networking and just working on my career, like the start of my career basically, yeah.
I would say for me, it's about experimenting with new ideas and something that's more about expression and fun and just being creative and really flexing creative muscles. Learning some new things along the way as well is inevitable and part of it, but that's what really excites me, is the experimentation and doing something that I would never take the time to explore
in like a commercial project or something.
Exactly, and some things I've taken from game jams, not necessarily full ideas, but just how I approach something or visuals or, you know, exactly, that I've been able to take, even production tools and that kind of stuff that I've been able to experiment with. I think a really big part of game jams are the community at the game jam and also around the game jam. And I know it's one of my favorite bits is just to be in a creative environment with so many people, that I just like, but that are also creative in really different ways and have different ideas. That's a huge part of why game jams are valuable and enjoyable.
What I think really is so good about like game jam for like all different career stages, I guess we'll say, is that it's always good to have more on your resume in terms of like ship products if you do want to show your skill set. So whether you're a student or whether you're in a established career human, they're all really valuable things.
100%. Like anytime I've ever been part of a judging panel for any type of like funding or applications to do something, I'm always looking for Game Jam written there. Like I've participated in Game Jam, I've done this many community events.
And like, you know, pull it together.
We get artists who turn up with watercolors and stuff, and we scan that into digital games. Or you get, you know, programmers who decide to do some art. And like, it's just that creative flow of doing something really wacky and zany, and it doesn't matter if it's a big trash flyer, that's fine. You know, it's great if it's not. But if it is and you had fun along the way, then you've jammed correctly in my view.
All right, so it is unfortunately the end of another season of New Game Plus, and we haven't really left the house, any of us, and I do say any of us because I'm belying the fact that I do have the rest of the team on board. We're going to just have a quick, I guess, a bit of a reflection on the year that was. So please welcome Donald, Jack, Jamie, Matt, and Megan. Wait till the people blow them kisses. Yeah, cool.
That's it.
Yeah. So now we I don't know. Like, I guess the big thing's been COVID. Like, are we just going to pretend that it's not existing, or are we just going to cover all the things that got cancelled and changed because of COVID?
We will eventually try to forget COVID, but it'll remain in society. It'll scar us all for the long term.
Well, I'm not going to lie. Like, my life hasn't changed. It's like my life is exactly the same as it was when it started. So I'm glad that you're all, you know, adapting to work from home.
So many gigs, man. So many events. They're still running.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
No, the introverts are going to come out on top. This was made for us. We will come out stronger than ever, more than any other personality type out there. So bring COVID on, I say.
What were you saying,
But
Cuddy?
not only that, this year has been actually pretty slow for AAA game releases and big IP. So I think it's been a strange year in general. Like the tone of the industry is just like waiting for next gen consoles.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even the next gen console, I don't know. I mean, my hatred for Sony knows no bounds. So I think they're going to screw the pooch real bad. But I worry that they're not going to have any stock like whatsoever. I don't know. I guess
that's so true.
Isn't that big rumor at the moment that it's basically going to be like a very small launch of the PS5?
That is the rumor that I've heard, is that that's why they're pushing those games back into June to bring out a little bit more PS4 sales to cap it off, and then figure it out from there. So,
but I imagine like all hardware manufacturers will be affected by this, just due to the fact that production is slowed down, not only in the Chinese plants for those few months, but also the game developers all over the world also having to spend a month trying to transition to the work from home. It means that like we've only started to see the delays with The Last of Us 2. They will keep on going, and they'll eventually culminate in, say, the next year or so with either limited hardware, we've already seen that with the Nintendo Switch, or with more and more game delays. Games that were supposed to come out at the next-gen launch, but a little bit staggered or aren't exactly as optimized, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely the case. And, I mean, obviously we had all the Japanese stuff managed to make it out before all the cut-off. However, even some of those shifted to new Japanese financial year, which is the start of April. So a lot of those moved into this year's profits to try and boost those a little bit, and they obviously the things before 31st of March they go. So you can see the strategy coming out from a lot of these companies to try and keep the curve as low as possible, even in their front.
Which is ironic given that as we're recording, the curve in Japan isn't showing signs of slowing. So if the COVID pandemic ends up being bigger there than we'd expect, then that could have even more ramifications for our type of gaming down the line.
Yeah, I'll say, Cardi and I have discussed this a fair bit. RIP TGS this year, I reckon. What do you think? You think it's coming back, or
100%. There's no way it's coming back. Plus, I don't reckon even PAX Oz will return. I think this whole year is going to be wiped clean from any social gatherings.
I disagree. I think PAX is going to exist. I think they'll force it out no matter what. Like, I wouldn't worry too much about that, 100%. But yeah, because Matt and I were discussing, going to what was it, Tokyo Game Show and then the Formula One. Cardi, am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, don't make me remember that. I'm trying to replace that.
I really wanted to see some speedy race cars this year. Oh well, next year.
Next year. That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Streams. So yeah, I know Lando and stuff like that, and Verstappen have been going really hard on esports, virtual racing, and stuff like that. So I mean, when a door closes, another one opens.
Yeah. I know they've been really, and even V8 Supercars have leaned into it a little bit. Though of course, V8 Supercars had that spectacular car crash at the start of their first race when they first started doing it.
That's been every race. Every race is basically bumper cars. It's great.
Yeah,
it's pretty good as well because a lot of the oldies are starting to embrace it too, and even my father got stuck into some of the V8 Supercars racing as well. And even though it's not particularly one for one with all the tracks and stuff, it's interesting to see people like Max Verstappen handle a V8 Supercar on tracks that he's used to, like Silverstone, for example. So it's really interesting to see. It's like these weird what if scenarios, but suddenly
every week's Bathurst, but we don't have to travel to New South Wales, which is just a pleasure no matter what. I guess one of the things I guess we should cover before we kind of wrap it up for the season. What are you hoping? Like, we've got 6 months, or we've got 3 months until the end of the kind of the financial year. So that was meant to be usually when E3's on, when Gamescom's on, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's still so much information that was meant to be disseminated at E3, at Gamescom, all these things. How are you hoping that comes? Like, what are you hoping to hear from these people?
I personally want to see the AAA developers and publishers out there do their own live streams and engage with their audiences and their players in a different way. So, on doing online streams and embracing what E3 could have been, but online, like not missing that window and keeping that cadence, but doing it differently and engaging through like online platforms. And I think that it's interesting, when we heard like Last of Us 2 delaying their release and then bringing it back for all those other reasons that are, like, we could talk about forever, but maybe they could embrace on like digital launches instead of like really shipping out to physical stores. Like maybe this, it's just showing that for physical retailers for games aren't required anymore. I could talk about this for ages, but I think people need to, like, developers and publishers need to embrace this change.
What about yourself, Matt?
I personally prefer that. Honestly, as a consumer, I mean, it sucks that there's been a lot of like just animosity and a lot of just uncertainty in the air. But I personally prefer as a consumer that it's a good opportunity for everyone to catch up with a lot of their games, a lot of games that they want to go on 100%. There are games that they actually want to play and finish. I know I've got a massive back catalog.
Shout outs to Game Pass as well,
Yeah, shout out to Game Pass as well. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of opportunities to kind of catch up with everything. And I feel that at this point in time, instead of a lot of AAA developers, none which shall be named, are constantly rushing their games out to appease their shareholders, maybe give the developers a little bit more time to polish their craft, give them a bit more time to conceptualize, and maybe we'll actually have some pretty decent content and less cynical journalists like Jason crapping on about video games.
That's true. What about you, Cringe?
I think that's what they should focus on.
Nice one, Matt.
I don't really think that we're going to see the full impact of this for quite some time. Like, a lot of the games that we probably be expecting to see, and a lot of the console reveals, all of that isn't necessarily locked in. Like, there's some sort of wiggle room there, but we're not going to see some of the biggest stuff, like somehow more big picture than The Last of Us 2 got knocked back by another month. Like, we're going to see so many games, so much more get knocked around a year and a half, 2 years down the track. Whereas a lot of the work, the game development, the marketing, all of the stuff that leads up to launches this year, most of the work's already been done there, but a lot of the work going in now is kind of.
I wonder if they're happier that it happened now as opposed to just after it launched. I reckon they're happier that it happened now because it isn't already in the market. There isn't those expectations.
Right.
Like, they can build
pivot.
that. Yeah. Jamie, what about you?
I just need information. Like, I want to buy a PS5. I want to buy an Xbox Series System X, what the hell we're calling it. But right now, like, I don't know that much about the consoles. I need to know, like, what can they do? What games can I buy for them? I need to know more because I would love to be able to kind of cover this stuff, but it's like, it's a little hard. You're just asking me to blindly purchase your thing. It's like I need a reason. And
Welcome to modern consumerism. That's modern
yeah,
gaming.
I know, but seriously though, I need a compelling argument to go buy a new console because I have a good PC right here. It plays a lot of games really well, but do I need a new console at this rate?
Well, it's a good
Give me a
opportunity for Sony to get working on their Tokyo Jungle port.
Oh, don't now you're taught me. Hey, that's payback for talking about the Japan trip. All right, Don, what about you?
I think it's going to be painful for the time being, but gaming as a whole will come out stronger after this. And we've already seen the positivity with esports becoming more of a serious threat. But on top of that, in these isolated times, what better way to connect with our friends, our co-workers, our acquaintances, our family through video games? I've had a bunch of Zoom and Skype calls where we've played Jackbox or online versions of card
Hell
games.
yes.
So like it's making games more and more normalized and more acceptable. And so once this all lifts, and this will lift eventually, we'll be in a better position.
All right, thank you, Don. Thank you, everyone. I guess with this season basically being the last season for us, potentially forever, but hopefully just for now. Where can we catch the rest of your guys' output? Like, where can people catch up with you, or read your stuff, or watch your stuff if they want to keep doing so?
I am on Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that as @an_bear. Plus, I will still be making quiz time event for the New Game Plus YouTube page and Facebook page, so keep an eye out for that.
What about you, Mr. Cringe?
Check out my OnlyFans. No, sorry. I have Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube /cringeworthy. You might also see me in some potential off-season stuff for New Game Plus. We might have that coming up soon.
We're having that conversation at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned to C31. I mean, generally, but also for more New Game Plus down the track, hopefully.
So you can catch me at twitter.com/carpc. Obviously, we have to use @carpc because it's Twitter. And also on Instagram, I'm actually launching up my Instagram at Cardi Party with 2 Y's a piece. And you'll also catch me on twitch.tv/New Game Plus TV and twitch.tv/Cardi Party as well.
Miss Megs?
It's so catchy. I'm only on Twitter on Megsatron22. Don't laugh. It's my favorite. That's about it.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, just New Game Plus.
Stuff for us. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. And don't forget also to check out newgameplus.tv, New Game Plus TV on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all those silly, funny things. The Japanese branch has launched. The basic stuff is out there, so keep your eyes out for more Murasaki Gamu content. And we'll be doing a bit more live streaming, a bit more of a launch stuff coming up, hopefully, as you've seen this. Everybody wave goodbye because we can't necessarily hear Jamie, so wave. Goodbye, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you on the other end of it. Hey,
we'll be there.
Jamie? No, we've lost Jamie. We've got nothing. There he goes. Huh? Go now.
Is Mike dead?
Is Mike dead? Go now. Go. Nah, you're gone. You can't, like, legitimately, you're gone.
Oh,
we'll come back to you. Have a look at it. Cardi. All right, let's give Jamie one more try.
My name is Jamie.
What's his actual Twitter handle? Don?
Jamie M. Glaze.
Two middle fingers.
And he'll of course be doing